We really just popped right into the close on Friday and then drifted higher. It was debatable whether or not to go out short, just so extended from here to here over the course of one day. 273 and a half to 278 in the after hours. It's a big move for the level of volatility we've been seeing over the last couple months. So pretty natural pullback into the area we consolidated from the entire day, basically. So it was very tight until the close. That's where we are in the pre-market. So it looks like we tried to test 277. Again, 277 is where we were testing all day right until the close. And then we printed up to 277.40. And then over the next few hours, just drifted up 278. So we're right back there. If we step back a little bit, we can see that the market does look a little extended up here. Just even drawing a trend channel like this, we really started to move away from this uptrend. So what would be healthy and good, of course, would be a flush down into this area here, which was the top on Wednesday. And again, at the end of the day on Thursday, it's around 277 and a half, 270, excuse me, 275, 60-ish. About $1 below where we are right now. And I'm sure everyone is thinking about that 280, which was resistance from October through December. First time we failed, second time we failed, third time led to the meltdown. It seems like a reasonably good chance we're going to touch that this week, unless something bad happens with China. So that's where we are. Burden is on the sellers to show us that anything's different than it's been for the last 7-8 weeks. First stock we want to look at is Walmart. So Walmart had a really nice beat on earnings per share, EPS. Inline revenue, that means margins are good. Market likes that on retailers who generally have very thin margins. So we go back to the beginning of last year, 2018, it topped out at 110. People got excited about the commerce online stuff, which I noticed, which I put in the notes, over 40% year-over-year growth. That's what kind of got it to go wild from this very quick move from 80 to 110. Got sold off that day from 110 hard, gapped up again to 107, got sold off hard again, and has basically taken a year to work its way back up there. Or to, I should say, let's just go to the 4 hour so we can see what this looks like. So it was in this very steady uptrend for a couple of years, and then when it accelerated, that's what kind of caused the pullback. This was just a nice steady uptrend, and accelerated away from it, and came back in. So this is a little bit over a year ago, and it's just working off this. Just needs some time, basically. It's been performing well, and so can it spend some time consolidating now above 100, eventually break to the upside. All right, so initial reaction strong. 104, they sold it, and it popped through. Spent a little bit of time here, 105. Continue to sell it at 104. So sellers are in control right now. It has done 700,000 in the pre-market, almost 10% of its average daily volume. What did I put on the sheet? 104, 105.50. Yeah, so 105.50 is from the higher time frame, but this 104 has been the most important level all morning from when they started selling it originally. They pushed through. Then once it's been below, it's just been sold once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Ideally, we'd get a test there on the open and see how it behaves there. But the buyers need to show that they can kind of retake and hold above there before I'd really look at it on the long side, other than a hard pullback into this area down here. So that's Walmart. Normally moves $1.50. Would be great if it had a $3 plus range today. It's extremely likely it could easily do 15, 20 million shares. Seems like they're on the conference call right now as well. Weight Watchers, WTW, it caught another downgrade. It's in a massive downtrend. It wasn't a massive uptrend for a couple of years. It's pretty much erased almost that entire move that started in the 20s. So zoom out a little bit more. There we go. So you go back to 2017, when it ran from, so it got above 25 and then had this run from 25 to 38, pulled back down to 32. That was the beginning of this Oprah excitement. It's looking at it now from the top, I'm not really seeing anything. I remember we did look at it here. My God, this doesn't seem that long ago. That was August, last August. It gapped down. This, I guess, was the beginning of this move. I'm chuckling because when that news came out that day, in my head, I was thinking initially when the news came out, it was WWE, which is Worldwide Wrestling. And that's why I actually didn't short it that day, because they have this big TV contract. But since then, it hasn't really tried to bounce. It's just been in a steady downtrend. But coming into this downgrade, it did actually bounce off of 28 over the last week, and it's gapping down there again. So it is down pretty much. It's erased almost the entire up move. And it's just worth noting that this move here from 30 to 28 was bought, and it just worked its way back up to 30 again, and it gets hit. So I'm kind of curious to see if buyers step in here at 28 again and see if it can just work its way back up there. And overall, just very beaten down. So if we do, it's another one of those stocks that's so beaten down off the highs that if gets any type of positive catalyst in the near future, it could easily work its way back up into the 30s. Unit. Unfavorable court ruling. You don't really need to understand the details of it other than to say that it was a spinoff from WYN. This federal judge said they shouldn't have been able to do what they did, and now the bondholders might have some rights to their assets or something like that. And so you can kind of see it's not taking that news too well. So it's gapping below this. If we zoom out a little bit more, since it did the spinoff, so it was 30 when they did the spinoff. It came down, went back up again to 30. Now it's through the low here. They might overdo this one on the open, and then maybe it'll kind of work its way back over the next few days a little bit. Right now, they're still selling it. This normally does 1.3 million shares, but I would assume it's going to do 10 million shares plus today. It's already done 2 million actually in the pre-market. So yeah, maybe even 20 million. So news came out after the close on Friday, went to 14, or actually went to 13. Now it's back up to 14. So you can kind of see if it gets its footing over the next couple of days, I would be looking for a bounce back up to 13, to 14, at least 13. So that's that. And then TCG, which has been in a very steady uptrend since they declared bankruptcy, which is not usual. But the one thing that we've been talking about since day one, since people talked about bankruptcy and the fact that the stock was not trading like a stock that was going to go bankrupt, usually those stocks go down to $1, $2, is now it comes out that the governor of California made some comments indicating they might do some legislation to protect their liability, which has basically been this pretty much the only reason where it made much sense that the stock wasn't going down to like, below the chart even here. So you can see there was initial panic, then it came back up because people thought maybe they didn't have that much liability. And then they declared bankruptcy right here. And even when they declared bankruptcy, it shot right back up to $14, and then it's just been slowly grinding higher since. I would say since the stock has acted better or stronger than you would have expected, now that the news is actually coming out from the governor indicating they might do some legislation to limit liability, it wouldn't surprise me if it just keeps on grinding all the way back up to like kind of these levels from last month. So and again, now people will start to think about it in terms of what's my upside. Not, oh, it's come from $8 a share. They're thinking, oh, they're going to do some legislation. Maybe it's going to work its way back up to here or here. And so at $16, $17, there's a lot of upside. And the analysts, even without that upside, were saying they thought it could be worth something in here. So that's where we are on that. GOS from Friday reported, or was that Thursday actually? It was Thursday. They reported, got hit, popped on the open, then got below Thursday's low, which obviously is a short based on the selling that we saw on day one. And it is now back down to 50. So it's this consolidation from a few weeks ago. And now I would look for some sort of sideways action, either above 50 or in this little consolidation range. Let's see if it catches its footing. I have to always balance with my longer term view on this stock, which is I think eventually it'll just come way back down, versus shorter term, medium term technicals, which it's coming into an area where you would think people would look to start to buy it. CGC, we played this on the short side on Friday when it failed at that 49 level, right on the open. I'm short at the pop. So right on the open, went to the pre-market high, failed, came off hard. So we shorted this pop right here. Never rolled all the way back down, but it's gapping down this morning down at around 46, which was our downside potential target on Friday. Just want to zoom back out. I think if they really wanted to hit this, that 45 where it broke out from a few weeks ago. So broke out from, what is this, 44.5, 45. So if it's actually going to have a little bit of downside follow through from the pre-market low, it would be this area right here, at which point I would look to see if it were to bounce. So that's that. Twitter's on the sheet again. It's just grinding up, It basically tested Wednesday's high Friday and failed there. So Twitter, it's trading like the way Twitter normally does, which is it kind of bottoms and it slowly grinds higher. It has some hard down moves, some hard up moves, but it kind of works its way to higher prices. So eventually, I think it'll work its way back up into this band here. So we'll see, as long as it stays above 3080. Nvidia, this one, I was kind of glad. I thought this was a healthy sign for the market. Here's where they did the earnings warning. It was at 160, sold off too much. But the fact that they came out after doing this big earnings warning and reported numbers that it would actually go up to $12, $13 straight seemed a little silly to me. The fact that it sold off in the after hours from there, and then they sold it more on Friday, it shows signs of a pretty rational market, which is good for us from a trading standpoint. Actually bodes well for the market going to higher prices, people behaving kind of rationally, and just, that is good. Now, looking at it from the technicals over the last couple of weeks, I'm just seeing this 155 here. It failed there initially, came off hard, got there again a couple of days before the earnings. We even have on a sheet, yep, we do. And then we have 52 below that. So, let's see if it catches a bid here. If it catches a bid here, it kind of starts to move sideways. Could look for it to work its way back up to 160. And the next support is okay. So Jeff just said somebody did a nice video on it from Friday, I guess, which is posted in the chat. You should take a look at. So, and by the way, I should say, like, I was a little bit. Let's just say Friday, I was looking to get off the desk a little bit quickly, and I did short this pop back up to 160, and I gave up on it a little bit, but I noticed some of the guys on the desk, and maybe this is what the video is about, but some guys on the desk stuck with it, and eventually when it kind of kept on failing here, 116 held below, there was a very nice, easy downtrend from 1130 all the way into pretty much the close. So, you know, good job there. You know who you are if you caught that on Friday. So that is that. And then on Facebook finally is back down to where, this is another one which it just took a couple of weeks after earnings. I was looking for it to get down at least to 162. I was thinking 160 to 162 would be kind of a nice pullback from the earnings. And we finally got it a couple of weeks later. This is the, it's kind of this one. And I would love to see a flash into 160. And maybe we're looking at, let me zoom out. And then maybe we get a bounce back up to this area here. And then I would look at this band as potential resistance, something like that. That's a very liquid name, so it's a good idea to keep an eye on it. And it's see how many days in a row it's been sold. So from intraday, 1, 2, 3, this is neutral. So 4 of the last 5 days it's been sold intraday. So it's probably going to start to catch a bid pretty soon. So it's worth watching. And then, yeah, ICPT, which is a tough stock to trade, is up a lot on a phase 3. Like you can see on the multi-year a few years ago, it did go from like 100 to 500, back down again and up again. It's been beaten down, but it's traditionally a very difficult stock to trade.